45 sad facts about a child who knows and sees everything too young. They understand pain before they understand play. Their silence often screams louder than other children's laughter. They stop asking why because they already know the answer. They notice when people fake their smiles. They can feel the tension in a room like a second skin. They become the listener in conversations meant for adults. They can tell when love is fading, even before the adults admit it. They hide their wisdom behind shy smiles to avoid being called strange. They learn that comfort doesn't always come from family. They can't enjoy cartoons anymore because real life feels heavier. They see their parents' pain and try to fix it, quietly. They learn that apologies don't always mean change. They learn to read eyes more than words. They notice who pretends to care and who truly does. They stop believing in happy endings early. Their mind becomes an old soul trapped in a small body. They carry secrets too big for their tiny shoulders. They grow up comforting others when they should be comforted. They smile to keep others from worrying. They understand death before they understand life. They start to mistrust joy because it never lasts long. They learn to act okay because being broken makes adults uncomfortable. They stop playing because reality feels safer than imagination. They remember everything people wish they'd forget. They sense lies before words even leave the mouth. They become the emotional guardian of the house. They rarely cry, not because they're strong, but because they're tired. They learn that love can also hurt. They often feel invisible in rooms where they're the most aware. They question everything, especially things meant to comfort them. They read pain like a language no one else understands. They age inside before they age outside. They learn to heal others while breaking quietly themselves. They dream of peace, not toys. They learn that some adults never grow up, but expect them to. They start to parent their parents. They hear arguments through walls and pretend not to. They see the sadness adults hide in jokes. They learn that some forevers are just temporary promises. They feel responsible for things they never caused. They fall asleep thinking about things no child should. They outgrow innocence too quickly. They confuse maturity with survival. They forget what it feels like to be carefree. They become wise, but at the cost of their childhood. The child who knew too much. Lena was only 8, but her eyes had seen too many midnights. She moved like a whisper through her house, quiet enough not to wake the anger that slept behind closed doors. The walls were thin, and so was peace. She learned early that sometimes silence is the only thing that keeps everything from breaking. Her mother smiled often, but her smiles trembled like glass. Her father laughed loudly, but his laughter always ended too suddenly. Lena noticed. She always noticed. When other children played, she watched them from afar, clutching her small notebook filled with little drawings of clouds and houses, places that looked like homes but didn't sound like them. She wanted to ask how it felt to laugh without fear, but she already knew she wouldn't understand the answer. At night she became a guardian. Her little brother Tommy was 5 and still believed monsters hid under his bed. Lena never told him that the monsters didn't hide there. They shouted in the kitchen, broke plates and left scars made of words. So she told him stories instead. Stories about kind dragons and skies that never rained. Stories that didn't end in tears. When Tommy fell asleep, Lena would tiptoe to the window. The city outside buzzed like a secret she couldn't tell. She'd watch the streetlights flicker and whisper to the stars, "Please, just one night where no one yells." She never got an answer. One morning at school, her teacher asked the class, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" The room filled with bright voices, a doctor, a singer, an astronaut. When it was Lena's turn, she paused. Her fingers trembled against the wooden desk. Then she whispered, "Safe." The teacher smiled politely, not understanding that Lena wasn't joking. Lena knew too much. She knew when her father was about to leave, even before he packed his things. She saw the way her mother's eyes followed the door every night, like she was already preparing for goodbye. She knew what "I'm fine" really meant, and she knew that sometimes love doesn't die. It just hurts too much to stay alive. As the years passed, she learned to carry her pain quietly. She learned how to smile without joy, how to comfort adults who were supposed to comfort her, how to take care of everyone except herself. By 12, Lena could read emotions like other kids read books. She could tell when someone was pretending to be okay, even when they fooled everyone else. But knowing everything came with a price. She no longer believed in miracles, in birthdays, in wishes. She stopped dreaming because dreams always disappeared when she woke up. At 14, she started writing letters she'd never send. To the mother who tried, to the father who left, to the version of herself who still believed in magic. She wrote, "Maybe if I had been louder, you would have stayed." And at the end of every letter she'd write, "I forgive you, even if you never asked." By 16, she looked grown, but she never really lived as a child. People called her mature for her age, not realizing that maturity was just trauma dressed up nicely. And even when she smiled, you could still see it in her eyes, the ache of someone who learned too early that life doesn't wait for you to be ready, that sometimes you have to raise yourself in a world that never taught you how to love without fear. Lena never hated anyone. This is the story of a child who grew up watching everything, the pain, the silence, the broken love, and the things adults thought she couldn't understand. Lena was only 8. But her heart carried more truth than most people learn in a lifetime. She was the kind of child who listened instead of laughed, who comforted instead of cried, who became strong only because she had no choice. While other children played, she learned to read emotions like stories. She knew when smiles were fake, when love was fading, and when peace was just a pause between storms. Her home was filled with voices that didn't match their words. Laughter that ended too soon, apologies that didn't mean change, and love that felt like survival instead of safety. Lena's innocence was stolen not by the world's cruelty, but by awareness, the curse of understanding too much too young. She grew up carrying the weight of her parents' pain, protecting her little brother from a reality too harsh for his age, and pretending to be okay so others wouldn't worry. She was wise, sensitive, and painfully aware of everything, the kind of awareness that doesn't fade with time, only deepens with silence. As she grew older, Lena learned that some children don't lose their childhood. It's taken from them. She realized that maturity isn't a gift. It's what happens when you grow up being the emotional parent in a house full of broken adults. Her dreams became quieter, her smiles smaller, her eyes heavier. She began to understand that being strong often means surviving, not living. The child who knew too much is not just a story. It's a reflection of every child who had to grow up early, who became the peacekeeper, the listener, the invisible glue holding everything together. It's for the ones who knew what sadness was before they learned how to spell it, who felt responsible for things they never caused, and who, even as adults, still crave the safety they never had. Some children grow up seeing everything. They notice every argument through the walls, every tear their mother hides, every silence that shouldn't exist in a home meant for love. They learn early that not every smile means happiness, and not every "I'm fine" is the truth. If you were one of those children, the one who grew up too fast, the one who understood too much too soon, this story is for you. You weren't broken. You were aware. You weren't cold. You were cautious, and you didn't lose your childhood. It was taken by circumstances that demanded you to survive instead of simply live. But here's the truth. Your awareness was never a curse. It was your protection. Your silence wasn't weakness. It was your wisdom speaking quietly. You learned to read the world before the world learned to understand you. And even though it hurt, That sensitivity, that deep knowing, is what shaped the strength that still lives inside you. Yes, it made you tired. Yes, it made you distant. But it also made you awake. The kind of awake that sees through lies, feels through chaos, and loves people in ways they can't even describe. You became someone who doesn't just survive pain. You understand it, transform it, and use it to comfort others. So don't be ashamed of how much you see. Don't apologize for feeling deeply. You didn't grow up wrong. You just grew up early. Now, as an adult, you get to do what no one did for you. You get to be your own peace. You get to protect your inner child. You get to rebuild what was taken and create the safety you always deserved. You've seen too much. But that means you also understand what real love, peace, and healing should feel like. Don't run from your past. Grow from it. Don't let your childhood define your limits. Let it shape your compassion. Because one day, someone broken will stand before you, and you'll be the reason they believe healing is possible. So keep going. You are not your pain. You are what survived it. You are not your past. You are what grew from it. And even if no one told you before, you deserved love, peace, and protection all along. This story touched your heart. If you saw a piece of your own childhood in Lena's silence, I want you to take a deep breath and remember, you're not alone anymore. I built my website as a safe corner for souls like yours, a place where healing meets awareness. When you visit, you'll find ebooks, audiobooks, and printable planners designed to help you rebuild your mind, find structure, and take back control of your peace. You'll also discover my mental awareness short films, raw philosophical reflections, and tools that remind you how strong you truly are. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Your support keeps this movement alive. Every new subscriber, every like, and every comment helps these messages reach someone who might be silently fighting their own battle tonight. There's also a new video coming up next, one that dives even deeper into what it means to heal the inner child after years of silence. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. You matter, you always have. Now let's grow together.